All right, if you've put your time and money into an off-grid or hybrid power system, you need to listen up. We're talking about something you absolutely cannot afford to get wrong, the difference between a floating and a bonded neutral. Trust me, this isn't just some boring technical detail. It's the very foundation of your system's safety.
So let me ask you a direct question. Think about your setup right now. Are you 100% sure your inverter's neutral is configured the right way? Because if it's not, that's not a problem that stays inside the box. It sends a serious risk right through the wiring of your entire home. You know, this whole floating versus bonded neutral thing, it might just sound like a bunch of confusing jargon, but it's a hidden danger. If you get this wrong, you're literally gambling with the risk of electric shock, fire, or completely frying thousands of dollars of equipment.
And here's the big problem we see all the time. A lot of tutorials out there, sure, they'll define the terms for you, but they almost never explain why it actually matters. They don't show you the scary scenarios, like how a fault current can turn a metal appliance into a trap. That's exactly the gap we're going to fill right now.
Okay, so let's build this up from the very beginning. We're going to start with the basics. What even is a neutral wire? And from there, we'll get into exactly what it means for it to be floating versus bonded.
First things first, the neutral conductor. In any AC system, just think of the neutral as the return highway for all that electricity. It's the path that completes the circuit, letting the current flow from the source through whatever you've plugged in and all the way back again.
Now this slide right here shows the crucial difference. A floating neutral, on the left, is totally isolated, completely separate from your system's earth ground. A bonded neutral, on the other hand, is deliberately connected or bonded to the earth ground. But here's the absolute golden rule, and you can't ever break it. This bond can only happen at one single point in your entire system. We'll talk more about why that's so critical in a minute.
So, we know what the terms mean. Now let's get into what they actually do. This isn't just about picking one over the other. It's a trade-off. Each setup handles electrical risks in a completely different way. This table really spells it out. When everything's working normally, hey, both systems are safe, no problem. But the second an appliance has an internal fault, that's when their stories become very different. With a floating neutral, you've got a high shock risk because that fault current has nowhere safe to go. A bonded neutral, though, gives that current a direct, predictable path to ground, which should trip a breaker and keep you safe. The only time a bonded neutral gets dangerous is with a bad installation. If you have multiple bonds, you create what are called ground loops, and that's a whole other problem.
Okay, let's zoom in on that single biggest danger we just mentioned. How exactly does a floating neutral, which sounds safe, right? It's isolated. How does that become a serious shock hazard?
The danger really comes down to this number, 120 volts. In a fault, that's the potential voltage that could be sitting right there on the metal case of your toaster, your washing machine, or the power tool in your hand.
And here's why that happens. Imagine a hot wire frays inside an appliance and touches the metal casing. That electricity needs to find a path back home. With a floating neutral, there is no path to ground. So what does the current do? It just energizes the entire metal body of the appliance, just waiting for someone to touch it and become the path to ground themselves. It's an unbelievably dangerous situation.
Okay, that's enough theory and scary what-ifs. Let's bring this back to the real world. The right choice here depends entirely on your specific setup. So let's start with what most people have, a single off-grid inverter. Now here's something that surprises a lot of people. Most of these are shipped from the factory with a floating neutral. That means it's on you, the installer, to create that single, safe bond. You typically do this either right at the inverter's output terminals or inside your main AC panel. That one little connection is what makes safety devices like GFCIs work, letting them instantly shut off the power when they sense a problem.
Now, things can get more complicated when you start adding more power sources, like a second inverter or a backup generator. And that golden rule we talked about, it becomes 10 times more important here. You absolutely must bond the neutral in one place only. If you bond it at each inverter and at your panel, you've just created a dangerous ground loop. This creates a parallel path for current to flow through your ground wires, which can cause them to overheat, become a fire hazard, or just drive you nuts with breakers that trip for no apparent reason.
All right, so how could you figure out if your system is actually set up correctly and safely? Let's walk through a simple 5-step checklist you can use to get a handle on your own setup. Here's your game plan. First, dig out that manual. It has to tell you if the inverter left the factory with a floating or a bonded neutral. 2, know your system. Is it a simple single inverter or is it more complex? 3, and this is a big one, use a multimeter to check the voltage between neutral and ground. It should read 0 volts or super close. If it doesn't, that's a huge red flag. 4. Physically confirm that the bond only exists in one single place. And 5. Make sure all your grounding gear, the rods, the wires are sized correctly. Look, for steps 3, 4, and 5, if you have any hesitation at all, that's when you call a professional. No guessing games.
At the end of the day, it all boils down to this. These choices aren't just academic debates for engineers. They directly affect shock risk, whether your GFCIs will actually work, and overall fire safety. Getting this right is fundamental. And we have to end on this note, and please take it seriously. Electricity is not forgiving. This explainer is here to give you the knowledge to understand the principles. But if you have even the tiniest shred of doubt about your system, please make the smart call. Consult a qualified electrician. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. You've built a powerful, independent energy system, and that's an amazing thing. But the most important question you can ask isn't just, is it powerful? It's, have I made it truly safe?